everyone, I'm Jane. This is the recap of the recent PlannerFest workshop, and I get to talk about adding colour to our line drawing in a lot more detail. Firstly though, something I have been very inconsistent with, and that's telling you to save your work. There is nothing worse than having spent a lot of time, say, doing all this on this page, and then for some reason you have a computer crash, or I don't know, anything could happen, and you lose all your hard work. There is an accompanying PDF, it's free for you to download, that goes into lots of detail about the general settings of Silhouette Studio, and also why I recommend that you save all your personal designs to your hard drive and then choose the backup of your choice, whether that's Dropbox or Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive. The Silhouette library, which I haven't actually talked about at all, is great for the designs that you might buy from the Silhouette America design store, but it isn't really the place to save your work for posterity. It's simply there that if you use two different machines, or you were on the road and you needed to take your designs with you, you could sign into your account and see anything that you've designed in your library. And it's great for that. It's like a syncing service in that sense, but it isn't for keeping your designs safe. So always go to File, Save As, Save to Hard Drive, and then decide where you want to save it and give it a name that reminds you of something, and click OK. With that said, let's get on adding colour to our line drawing. First thing I'll do is zoom in so we can see it. Another good practice is that when you're about to change something in a design like this, is to make a copy of it in case you, like me, mess up. So let's select our line drawing and just click duplicate, and then move this one off to the side. And I know that that one's an original, it's got the text in it still, and if I group this and lose my text, I've got this one over here all ready to go. The next thing I want to do is just cut some of these lines shorter. You might be like me and want to make the most of your sticker paper when you're lining these up to print, so we don't need all this extra. So of course we're going to use our old friend the offset. So first I need to ungroup everything so that I can just select the red line. And now I can open my offset, change the colour to blue just so that I can see it, give myself square corners and bring it in. 0.3 I think is going to be right, and click apply. So that's offset. I'm next going to need the modify panel, and I'm going to select the outside of my drawing and the blue line only, not the red, and I'm going to click crop. And that's tidied it up that it isn't taking up any extra space than it needs to. And I can do a little bit of editing because these are a little bit separate, so I could just bring these in a little, and then holding my shift key I can select these two side lines and my big Asda and everything in the middle, group that together. Now I'm ready to add some colour. As you might imagine, this is where I can get lost playing around in Silhouette Studio, because you can spend as little time on this as you want, or if you're like me, you might have your cup of tea, be listening to a bit of music or a book, and forget time and just keep messing about. I'll try and keep it as simple as possible today. Let's start by drawing just a simple plain rectangle. We don't want it to be cutting because this is just background colour, so make sure the line is transparent. And I want a blue, but let's just pick any blue for the moment and we can alter it in a minute. And I'm just going to draw it over where I think the sky is going to be. And then I'm going to use my send to back so that I can see my lines. And you can see that I've gone over my cut line, and I haven't bothered keeping an offset line there because I can guess how far I want to go over from the rest of the design. And that's a bit bright, I don't really want that, so we can mess around in advanced options to change the colour. So I don't want it quite as vibrant, and I might want it a little bit lighter, so something like that. You can just mess around until you're happy. Once you're happy with the sky, I'm going to hold down my Alt key, click it, and this time I'm going to make my path down here and take it up just under that line, send it to the back once more, and this time I want sort of a browny colour, and again that's a little bit dark, so let's lighten it up a little, make it a little bit browner maybe. There, that will probably do. It's not that much different, but I'm quite happy with that. And next we'll do the grey for the Asda. And again I'm going to duplicate the brown this time, and let's make it grey. It's a bit light, but I think I quite like that. And then while it's here, I'm going to double click, just add 3 extra points along the top, and you'll see why, so that I can get it to fit the roof. So put it there, click, let's send it to the back, and then click once, twice to bring it forward in front of the blue. The single clicks for forward and backwards sometimes take a long time to work depending on how many shapes and things you've already drawn, and if that's the case, just keep going until you can see what you want, or just bring everything else in front of your colour. You'll get the hang of it. It's one of those things that's trial and error. So let's double click our grey now, and these extra points I can bring down so that they match the roof. And there we go. Got my basic colours in there. So now we need a bit of green for the grass, and again it's just going to be any old green to start with. Let's have the brown again and make it green, and a bit light. Oh, that's not bad. I quite like that. A bit muted. And again we're going to double click, and I'm just going to move some of these points, see, so that it fits just over this black line, like so. There we go. And then I can send that to the back, bring it forward, and then I'm going to go to Object, Replicate, Mirror Right, Center Back, Bring Forward, and put it in place on this side. So there we go. Now I've got my green, and I did a little bit round the door before so that it was a little bit darker. So let's choose the blue this time. It's a bit smaller, and we want a slightly darker grey than the body of Asda. And with this I can just use, it's only a rectangle, so I don't need to be point editing exactly. And here I can increase the transparency so I can see the door behind there, and that just helps me work out that it wants to be in these lines, like so. There we go. So now I can increase the transparency again, and now we need to send that back and see how far. It's going to take me a long time doing that, so let's do full centre back, bring forward, bring forward, bring forward. Come on. There we go. And there's my darker door. And if I still think it isn't dark enough, then I can just make it a bit darker. On the originals, I did add a little bit of shading behind the letters, and I did that by duplicating the letters. So let's duplicate, and I added this green. So let's use our eyedropper. Let's pick up the green. You can see now that that's green, and it's probably a little bit bright, so I'm going to actually make it a little bit darker for being behind the letter, behind the black, and then I'm going to send it backwards, so it should go behind, there we go, pretty quick, behind food. And then because it's going to be awkward, I'm going to use the keyboard arrows, the right, left, up and down, to align this, because it's easier than trying to, if I zoom in as well, it's easier than trying to keep hold of the green and not getting hold of the black by mistake. So if you're a bit unsure, use your left, right, up and down arrows. There we go. And that will do. And that's it. You can then draw around everything, group together, and you're all ready to make a sticker sheet of coloured Asda stickers. And of course, you are not limited to either realistic colours, nor are you limited to Asda. I did get a little excited, and I made some for Aldi, Lidl and Tesco, and I went mad with the colours, because after all, if you don't like shopping, why not at least make it colourful? Unfortunately, this little sticker, I couldn't fit Waitrose or Sainsbury's in. There wasn't enough room. So I'll have to make others for that. I hope that you can see from this that one small line drawing can actually be changed in quite a few different ways and give you quite a lot of fun. In our final video, I'm going to be doing the print and cut here at home, and everything that you've seen in the videos on the screen is what I'm using when it comes to my print and cut stickers. I'll be printing them here at home and cutting them on my Cameo, and there will be photos.